What's good, fellow outcasts and other rejects? Welcome to WTC, the Anime Outcast. First off, if you're new here, we upload anime what-ifs based around My Hero and other shows alike. Secondly, did you know 80% of our audience is not subscribed? So in order for us to continue to make good content, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. From the days we left our hero, he and his diamond mentor attended a meeting Night Eye and his team hosted. It involved the plumbers and many other agencies, as the threat of Shia Haseki affected them all. Many conflicts arose due to the different heroes, from the UA students taking part in the lack of options. But nonetheless, compromises would be made, and the raid on the Yakuza would take place a mere week later. This is where we pick back up with the story as the army of heroes and local authorities prepare to raid Overhaul's compound. "Should I transform now or wait?" Izuku asks his plumber mentor as the heroes take their position in front of the horde of police.
"Wait until we're inside. The last we want is for you to revert to normal during the mission."
Tetrax orders as he prepares an energy pistol, sliding in bright red energy cell like a bullet in a revolver. The raid officially starts as the police chief approaches the compound, declaring they have warrants to search the area. The Shia Haseki compound almost instantly having their brood, Rikaya Katsumake, smash his way through their main gate. The officer is sent flying to the air as 8 Bullet members continues his charge. Our hero attempts to fight back, dialing up extra might to deal with Rikiyaka, but his comrades respond faster, with Mirio springing into the air to catch the man and Ryukyu transforming to thrash the giant head-on. With an opening made by the dragon hero, the remaining heroes flood into the base with heavy resistance blocking their path, though the team manages to get further into the base with the aid of Night Eye's foresight. The only major problem they run into is a Mimic, and his altering of the compound layout. But Bakugo and Kirishima easily break down the first couple of walls put in their path. This breakthrough method only works for a few minutes before being dropped into part of the base where Tamaki is forced to fight 3 Yakuza throwaways. This gives time for the dwindling group heroes to keep moving, where, to no one's surprise, they find another wall made of block them. But before the blonde bombarder and Crimson Boxer can break it, Lemillion gets a hunch that it isn't going to be that easy this time. So he asks the 2 freshmen to wait a second before poking his head through. "This wall is too thick to be broken through," Mirio mutters to himself as he pulls his head from the concrete. With no other choice, the shining blonde declares that he'll have to carry out his own while everyone else finds their own way. "Wait. One of my guys can phase through solid masses like you. I can go with you," the Omni hero shouts before the Million can go running off on his lonesome, though this sparks some backlash from some members of the raiding party.
"Have you gone mad? We both know I wouldn't allow you to do that,"
Eraserhead retorts, his black eyes burrowing into the teenage hero's head. Izuku stays quiet as he knows he can't argue against Aizawa, but he doesn't have to.
"Good thing it's not your call then. It's too dangerous for Lemillion to go. It would be safer for both."
Tetrax orders as he steps aside Aizawa. The two give standoffish glares to each other as they start bickering about whether it's a good idea for either to stray away from the team.
"Hoverboard is right. While I don't like the thought of anyone facing Chisaki in a small group, we don't have time to find another way,"
Night Eye shouts, cutting across the arguing teachers. With no other choice, Aizawa steps down and his argument is overruled. With the order issued, the changeling becomes Flash Freeze and prepares to press on with his upperclassmen. "Remember, keep at my pace and leave most of the fighting to me. We apprehend anyone I take down," Lemillion orders with the frigid insect nodding. Mirio then starts sprinting through the wall with Izuku flying alongside him.
"Why the hell would you let Midoriya go with Mirio?"
Aizawa snaps at the masked plumber, his eyes pulsing with red aura, his emitter ability. But the aged bounty hunter doesn't reply. Instead, he turns to the raid organizer to discuss a new route. I don't like, the self-proclaimed Lord Explosion Murder growls through gritted teeth. While he trusts Izuku more than his last classmate who ran after the villain, he still has a sick feeling to his gut.
Neither do I.
The scarred fighter says back as the group begins running down another corridor. After a few minutes of running and floating, the mass shifters find their targets. Overhaul and Chronostasis stand across from the two heroes as they slowly walk down a dimly lit corridor.
Excuse me, but we really need to talk to you,
the ideal-driven teen announces, causing the two Yakuza members to turn around slowly.
You again? And here I thought you were too scared to confront me, boy.
Kai mutters as he inspects Lemillion and Deku, looking them up and down to figure out how they got to their location so fast. Then, with his teeth gritted, the third year calls out once more, this time staring at Eri, who's in the grasp of Chrono.
Just hand over the child. There's no need to fight,
the mass shifter bargains, as with Deku by his side, he would prefer to avoid a fight.
Please, you're in no position to make demands. Not after your fumble the last time we met,
the bird-beaked villain declares before signaling his most trusted advisor to keep moving. In response, Flash Freeze takes a deep breath so he can unleash a massive wave of frost, only for his body to sway. The same goes for Mirio, who is preparing to strike the two masked Yakuza. Both teens fall to the ground, with Izuku's wings becoming limp.
Pathetic,
the young mob boss mutters to himself as he continues walking, leaving his two approaching minions to leave for the heroes. The one who clings to the ceiling, Diodoro Sakaki, mocks the two for falling prey to his power, while Shin Nemoto fires his handgun. Both shots pass through Mirio and Izuku, causing Shin to beckon them.
You two, what are your quirks?
The Plague Doctor asks, with a strange-eyed teen explaining his permutation ability, but as the Omnitrix user talks, his answer baffles Nemoto.
I'm quirkless.
The moth creature lightly mutters, with the 8-bullet member repeating the question, only to get the same answer. This causes the man to become distracted, ranting on and on about how no one has ever been able to lie when his ability is active. This gives the two heroes a second to plan.
You deal with these guys. Chisakai's mine.
Mirio shouts as he forces his drunken body up. With his fist clenched and a burning desire to save Eri, the All Might-like hero moves through the group and past the two henchmen.
What? What? Where did he go?
The Victoria-inspired villain shouts out, frantically looking for the escaped hero, though he forgets about the threat in front of him, giving Izuku a second to get to his feet and take another deep breath. A fast breeze washes over Nemoto and Sakaki, which causes a thick layer of ice to form around the hallway. The two villains become trapped on the floor and roof, respectively. The alcoholic is fully encased in ice, leaving him incapacitated. Though the living lie detector has his head and left arm free, he tries to shoot at Deku again, only for the bullets to pass through him with the icy marbles.
Tell me, why are you immune to my quirk?
Shin demands to know while using his powers as the insect alien stumbles close to him. But as Izuku disarms him, freezing the gun, he simply yells back that he isn't lying. With the two C-rank villains out of the picture, the changeling takes a second to steady himself. He's never even tasted alcohol before, so this drunk feeling is utterly new to him. Before he can fully return to normal, a violent rumble in the form of a makeshift wall draws his attention.
Shit! What are you doing, Mirio?
The teen thinks to himself as he rushes to the new barrier. It looks different to the one Mimic used to block the raid team's path, as this one had strange vein-like lines running up and down it. Izuku passes his head through the concrete, revealing that Lemillion and Overhaul are currently fighting. While his fellow UA student appears to be winning, he seems to be on the back foot. Kai's hostage keeps making it more complicated for Mirio to move around or take long strikes, but the two are already somewhat worn for only a few minutes of attacks. Seeing a chance to help as the fake father attempts to kill Eri, who lays dead still on the floor, Izuku rushes over. The moth monster scoops up the injured child as his partner knocks the young crime lord to the ground. This allows the two to fall back and thick a getaway plan. Can you make other people intangible? Mirio asks as he takes Eri from the alien and covers her in his tattered cape.
Nope. If I could, I would have brought one of the other pros with us.
The Necrophagian explains, which puts a wrench in Lemillion's plan. If Izuku could make other people permeable like them, he would have him run away with Eri. But as Overhaul returns to his broken feet, the two heroes cut their planning. But the instant afterwards, a loud pinging noise echoes through the bug creature's head.
I have an idea. Keep him busy while I change.
The Omnitrix bearer shouts as he takes cover beside the upturned piece of ground. Then, following his teammate's request, the brightly colored hero charges Overhaul. The two continue to trade blows, with the most Chisakai's attacks passing through the ragful Togata. But yet, none of the mass shifter's punches could keep the Yakuza down. Without a proper win condition against the Kai, Mirio is locked in a stalemate. But the young crime boss still has his unorthodox plan, once again attempting to kill a time manipulator when he has a free second from the UA student. As Eri is about to be impaled by the concrete attack, a wave of green liquid washes over her and pushes the girl out of the way. Once the scarred child is out of danger, the blob becomes human-like as a tiny disc hovers above it. Mirio sees this as an opportunity to tag out with the shape-shifting boy, causing him to sink into the ground.
It doesn't matter how many faces you wear. You're still just a child made to play hero in this sick world.
The germaphobe roars as he slaps his hand onto the ground. Another jagged pillar shooting out of the floor, but the spikes barely affect Kaguya as he floats over to Kai, as he merely wraps around the stone and keeps going. Izuku then completely traps Chisake and his jade mask, aka his worst nightmare. As the Yakuza leader struggles with the polymorph's mask, he activates his quirk, splattering the alien's body against the room. Midoriya! Lemillion shouts as he appears beside Eri, thinking that his peer had just sacrificed himself. But the little flying saucer above Overhaul starts to spin as the green mass is pulled back together atom by atom and around the young man. The two repeat this dance repeatedly until the plague doctor of quirks discovers how Kaguya keeps recovering. As the slime creature tries to reform around Kai again, the adopted crime boss constructs the ground into spears aimed above him, hitting Izuku's anti-gravity disc. With his balance lost, Deku is forced away from the villain, giving him a second to breathe. But the other UA student attempts to keep up the pressure, shooting himself at the Yakuza leader, acting fast. Chisaki forms a wall as bait for the incoming hero. As Mirio's arm passes through the construct, the masked man ducks under and uses his powers to send a blade of stone at the limb. Chisaki has started to learn Lemillion's tricks and his talent, so the concrete pierces the hero's arm when it's solid. Night Eye's successor recoils back in pain, with the blood spraying out and phasing through the floor.
Lemillion, that's your fake name, right? Whatever it is, you've impressed me. But what are you when your power is null?
Kai says with bated breath as he turns his barricade into a spike mace around his arm. Then, with Mirio still stunned from the pain, Overhaul prepares to smash the mace into the boy's skull. Before he could take the hero's life, a thick green laser comes from between the two, followed by crackling energy forcing the young adult back.
You. Well, you haven't been properly acquainted yet. I already despise you.
The fearmonger groans as he turns to face Aga, a smoldering scorch mark on the wall behind him, where he'd be if he didn't move at the right time. The Bad Ogre hybrid stares back with his multitude of eyes and his monster teeth gritted. Before the Omni hero and Overhaul get a chance to clash, a sudden explosion catches both of them off guard. From one of the side walls emerge multiple heroes, Night-Eye, Tetrax, Bakugo, and Eraserhead. Katsuki and Shoto charge at the injured Overhaul upon entry, who tries to use his quirk but to no avail as the teacher disables it. Cornered with nowhere to run, the distressed alchemist orders Chronostasis to wake up. Out of nowhere, a flat yet thick strand of hair slashes through Aizawa's shoulder at the time begins to distort for him. The Time Weaver had been knocked out by Mirio when Kai first made a stone arena, and played dead until the time was right. The battle-worn pro skids against the ground as his body slows to a snail's pace, giving back the bird-beaked villain access to his quirk. With his hand shooting up and in the path of the living grenade, Overhaul attempts to render him to a pile of blood and flesh. Acting fast, Bakugo changes momentum with his explosions and quickly nopes out of there. Howard then springs to his feet and grabs an incapacitated Eraserhead, pulling him over to his comrade. With his chances of escape nearly zero, Kai resorts to his ultimate backup plan. The young villain grabs Chrono by the head and places his other hand on Aizawa's back, activating his quirk to dismantle them. Then, as blood begins to rain down upon Chisaki, he encompasses by black energy as he fuses himself with his only friend, Eraserhead, and the surrounding concrete. The corrupt state mirrors our hero's form with multiple bloodshot eyes placed on his body mixed with his extra set of arms like extra might. Now a mutant hybrid of flesh and stone, the man goats the heroes into attacking. The three humans watch in absolute horror as their soul powers are negated, leaving only the Omni-Hero and the former bounty hunter able to fight.
Mirio, get that girl out of here!
Night-Eye orders, with the powerless team following the command. But as the golden-hair hero attempts to escort Eri through the hole the others made with him breaking in, it's covered up by the multi-quirk monstrosity. Thanks again to the Outcasts and Rejects for watching to the end of the video. This video gets 80 likes in 2 weeks, we'll continue the series. Other than that, if you have any questions about the series or channel, sound off in the comments, but feel free to join our Discord. Thanks again.